Peaceful Thursday to all you wisdom walkers out there. This is Judge Maria and Saroma coming to you with the elemental wisdom for the month of February. Yes, which is a fire month for sure. And during February, we're going to experience the first four elemental wisdom sorry, elemental energies with fire, of course, as a primary influencer. So we're going to walk through earth and then fire and then mineral, and we'll end with water. Yeah, in this water year. And as I've shared in my annual New Year's message, 2026 is an important water year, calling humanity to do peacemaking from the inside out, as the Venerable Buddhist monks are demonstrating through their historic and groundbreaking walk for peace. Yes. So, my energetic theme for February for this elemental energy is do the right thing. Yes. Yes. It seems we may have forgotten that that is really important in life times. And then, this is what happens when humanity is shifting out of one set of belief systems and evolving to the next. It's almost like you have to take a tour around those belief systems that don't work anymore or that don't really generate or nourish humanity. So, yeah, we've been going through a lot of that. But now, with this water year especially, we're being given many opportunities to really open up to doing the right thing. Yeah, coming up out of our fear and getting reconnected with our truth, our cosmic truth. Absolutely. So, as always, the elemental year the elemental week for February starts on a Thursday because that's when January 1st fell. And so this was the first Thursday in February. And so that's why I'm live streaming this to you now. And as always, I want to begin by honoring my ancestors, Melodum and Sabongfu Some, who brought this wonderful, wonderful spiritual tool to the West, that really not only has changed my life, but definitely kept me afloat for 25 years. Yes, yes, yes. So again, February. February is the first fire month of the year. And this year marks 100 years of Black History Month. It was started led by, of course, many other people were involved, but it was led by a man named Carter G. Woodson. He was a historian and wanted to really give, some airtime, if you will, to forgotten achievements by Black people in America. Um, and so it started out as a week, and also, he wanted it in February because of Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass's birthday, which is ascribed to February 14th because his mama called him my little Valentine. And so, yeah, and it's gone, it started in 26, but it wasn't until the 70s that it was able to spread to a month. And then it wasn't until I think towards the end of the 70s that it actually got congressional approval to actually be, a federal thing. I won't call it a holiday, but definitely federally designated as important to this country. So happy 100 years of Black history. Also in February, not only do we have Valentine's Day, but it's also Carnival, Mardi Gras, Shrove Tuesday, and the next day opening up Lent. And at the same time, Ramadan season opens up. So Ramadan and Lent are parallel this year, walking together. Very interesting, very powerful. And then last but not least, in the Chinese New Year, which comes on the 16th, we have the year of the fire horse showing up. And it's really a very powerful time historically, as you can see in the Chinese astrology history. Yeah, lots of change, lots of transformation, lots of moving things forward happen with that. So that's my commercial to you about February. But let's dive into what's going on elementally. And as I said, we start off with an Earth Week today, and here are the opportunities. Receive support. Be grateful because you are worthy. Don't apologize or feel ashamed. Embrace the power of self love and honor the energetic of the earth element as you open yourself to receive what you need in order to be fulfilled, nurtured, appreciated, and loved. Be self-full. This is cosmic reciprocity for all that you have done to support others. You deserve it. Ask and you shall receive. Yes. And again, the monks are really demonstrating that so beautifully because, you know, all they own are their robes and the bowls that they eat out of. And they have received everything they've needed to do this mission, be on this mission, and really, like I said before, be groundbreaking in what they're doing to teach us more deeply about having peace from the inside out. So be in this receiving mode this week and watch out for these distractions. You know, there's always a distraction. Yeah. The fear of hearing no, that gets into that guilt or shame place inside of us where we feel like, yeah, I shouldn't have to be asking for help, or I shouldn't be receiving this. And yeah, it's something to just stay aware of, acknowledge it, and then push it aside because we can't do anything in this world without receiving support. Known, unknown, visible, invisible. Yeah, we need help. So we got to let go of that fear. The fear of being a burden, again, back to the shame, blame, and guilt syndrome. There's something wrong with me for being vulnerable, for being in a position where I have to ask for help. Look at those monks. There's nothing burdensome about them. Like they're bringing so much joy and peace and love, consciousness. Yeah, it's not a burden that they, ask for help and receive. And in fact, they don't even ask. They don't even have to ask. That's how deep their belief system is because of, their practices and their lifestyle. So we want to be like the monks. We want to really open up to believing that we can receive and that we're not a burden. Now, this doesn't mean that, if you get, support, especially say like if somebody lets you stay in their home, that, you can act like it's a hotel where everything's on the house. No, you have to, of course, be considerate, compassionate, loving kindness, yes, and add to the peace of that household. You don't act entitled because you're in need of help. It's always about taking responsibility. Yeah. And then last but not least, that fear of being judged as weak or a failure. And again, just look to the monks. Look at how strong they are. Who else was walking through a blizzard in North Carolina? Yeah, they're very powerful. So just because we can get into a position where we need some help, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. It just means that we need some help. Yeah. And when we receive help, especially when we receive it unconditionally, then we're able to do that to others and for others. Yeah. So happy Earth Week. Open up your bowl, take out your bowl to receive. And again, no fear, no judgment, just gratitude. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So next week on the 12th, which is Lincoln's birthday, we have our fire week. Yes, and this is all about being in your truth. Be truthful with yourself and others. Call upon the ancestors to bring you clarity when you feel confused or conflicted. Walk your talk. Live in self referred consciousness, meaning trust intuition and honest feelings more than the opinions, advice, or judgments of others. Allow your inner authentic self to be in charge of your life versus the image of yourself that you project out into the world. As Mr. Rogers said, people can love you exactly the way you are. Yes. God bless Mr. Rogers. Great ancestor. And so distractions, maintaining the status quo, going along with what other people want or think you should be doing instead of what you know you need to do. Abandoning your true self in order to please others or avoid conflict. Lying to yourself and others. Sacrificing your needs in order to belong or be included. And that fear of not being liked, loved, or accepted. And these things are really embedded in us from childhood mostly. And so it's not a little thing to deal with this, but it's important to deal with this. Yeah, we must do the right things. And we can't do that if we're not living and being in our truth. Yeah, absolutely. And I got a comment. Let me just look and see. Oh, it's that Sarah Sweetwater. Love you, Sarah. She says, I love the monks and their message. Yes, it's so powerful. And for the time we're in right now, ah, it's essential. Yeah. Thank you, my dear. And so after Fire Week, we go into Mineral Week. Yeah. And in Mineral Week, the opportunity is to connect with the souls of others, validate your higher purpose as a human being. Unity consciousness is what makes us human. Communicate at a deeper level to experience the ability for compassion, understanding, forgiveness, and fifth dimensional relationships. A huge part of living on purpose is to be willing to transcend the shallow surface of what people present to you, see into their hearts, and connect with their essence. In this way, you must be authentically deep and simple with your own self and connected to your own soul. This is what the age of illumination is all about. Use the healing energy of mineral, which is stones, crystals, bones, and shells, to illuminate your higher self and that of others. Isn't that delicious and wonderful? And just back to the monks, because I could just talk and teach about them, from here to eternity. But when they're teaching about being mindful and using that breathing exercise to train your mind, to not be in reaction to things. What they're really getting at too is how then we can connect with people's souls rather than just their behavior. Yeah. And that's what happens when, they get treated disrespectfully, called out of their names, and they stop, breathe, and say, "May you be well, peaceful, and happy." Um, they're connecting to that person's soul. Yeah, they're not being in reaction to that person's behavior. So, yeah, this is what the Mineral Week is calling us for. And so we want to stay really mindful, really conscious that, yeah, we really are all connected. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So here's the distractions from unity consciousness: feeling sorry for people and taking on their pain. Yeah, a big not to do. When you feel sorry for someone, two things are going on. One, you're feeling sorry for yourself, but the message you're delivering to that person is, "Oh, this is the best that you can do." Yeah, so it's a limitation energy that goes out from you to them, and that's why people can really be very resentful. Yeah, when they realize they're being felt sorry for. So we want to stay mindful and avoid that. False obligations because you forget you're worthy. Yes. And again, that's back to that fire week truth piece, the truth consciousness. Like, don't do things just because you feel that I have to do this or else, I won't be loved, I won't be liked, all of that. Do what is really right and true for you and connect with people in a truthful way, in a loving way. And it's really loving when you really don't want to do something to say, this is not working for me right now. Or no, I'm choosing not to do that, because then you won't be around people and in resentment. And resentment is another way that we can transfer our pain. Yeah. So a more loving and more unity consciousness thing to do is to not give in to false obligations. Yeah. Of course, victim consciousness definitely will keep you separated from the truth of unity consciousness. Anxiety and impatience. Yes, again, back to the monks. They're teaching us to pause, get still, do your breathing. Don't let your monkey mind, they call it. I call it the pain body. Don't let it take over. And then gossip, judgments, and blaming. Oh my goodness. When we can really get to a point where we let that go, yeah, there'll be no more news channels. So much of what goes on in the news today is so much about gossiping, judging, and blaming. And I'm old enough that I remember people like Walter Cronkite, and other news persons and how the news used to be. And it wasn't all of this gossip and stuff going on. No, not at all. So don't think this is how it has to be. It's just where it is right now. But hopefully, we are going to shift that up, because it's such a unpeaceful energy to be in. And yeah, it's just not appropriate, and it's not entertaining. It really isn't. So avoid it as much as you really, really can, or just listen if somebody's in it and just say, there, but for the grace of God go I. So have a great mineral week, being mindful of the fact that we can connect to people's souls rather than their behaviors, especially their negative behaviors. Shay. And then for our last week in this fire month, in this most momentous water year, we get our water week. And the opportunity with this week is about becoming peaceful, how powerful and aligned it is. Pause and get still to listen to your heart and focus on your breathing as the monks are instructing us. Reconcile any negative feelings you have about others and yourself by acknowledging them, feeling the pain, and cleansing them with sadness and tears. And then by focusing on what is positive in your life right now. Get yourself into or nearby flowing water and allow the purifying energy of the water element to free you from feelings of anger, resentment, judgment, fear, and anything else that is disruptive and distracting to your peace of mind. For without peacefulness, you will not be able to fulfill your annual commitments. Remember them? And remember that God is breathing you. Call upon divine love to free your mind and restore your peace. Ashe. Just amazing. So in alignment. And so here's the distractions. This is what we want to be on the lookout for: ignoring or sedating your pain. The monks, when they share about the breathing exercise, they don't say ignore any pain or any noise or any feelings that are coming up. They say acknowledge them, but don't stay attached. Don't stay attached, you know. Transform it, let it go. Yeah. And it's the same thing for us, if we have pain going on, emotional pain, our little inner child is needing something. Don't ignore it or sedate it, because that's not going to transform it. That's only going to make it worse. So, a water week for me is really a time to really become more conscious of where is it that I'm hurting inside that I'm not tending to. Telling yourself that your problems can wait, no, that can actually become deadly. Attempting to change someone, yeah, not peacemaking. Leave that alone. Yeah, leave that alone. The only person you need to be working on changing is you. And changing how? Growing, healing, and evolving. Blaming others for how you are choosing to feel about yourself? Really? Yeah, yeah. We do that one so easily, so easily. It's their fault. It's because of what they said and what they did, and we go into reaction. But nobody can make us feel what we're not choosing to feel. And again, the monks are really demonstrating that in so many ways for us. Yeah. And last but not least, using anger, rage, or judgment to protect yourself from other people's pain. And this translates into resentment. When somebody, transfers their pain onto us, we're going to react. And sometimes we are going to react with anger and rage and then judgment, and we'll hold this resentment. And that resentment is not a good energy, it eats away. It eats away at our psyche and starts to convince us that we're right. And no, 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 no. You want to dissolve this. You want to dissolve resentment. And that's through forgiveness, both for asking for forgiveness energy for the person that hurt you or broke your heart or betrayed you. And then if you've been holding resentment, especially for a long time, you want to ask them for forgiveness for the pain you transferred onto them. And I know this is a very high level, high timeline activity, but ultimately, if you really want forgiveness to be about letting go of carrying somebody's pain, then it also has to be about you asking them to let go of carrying your pain of resentment. Yeah. Want the battle to be over. Want the battle to end. Don't keep it going on. And like I said, it's high level, but over time you can get there. Absolutely. And as always, I want to remind you that Our our Earth Day for the month of February is Sunday, the 22nd, and I'm promoting their earthday.org's commitment to reduce plastic by 60% by the year 2040. And we are here at 2026, so that's just 14 more years. That's all we got. So we got to get working on that. And as always, I advise you to go to their website, www.earthday.org, where you can learn about the End Plastics Pollution campaign, also about the planting of the trees, the canopy project, and also about managing the waste of fashion of all those clothes that Goodwill won't take. Where do they go? Yeah, yeah. So, as always, remember that through our efforts and our willingness to stay conscious and focused on, the things we can do to make this earth a more habitable place, it will also make it a habitable place for the seventh generation that comes after us. And that's definitely worth us doing, right? Yeah, absolutely. So, my darlings, there you have it, the elemental wisdom for the month of February. And February is, I really, really love Valentine's Day. So let me put some Valentines behind me. There we go. I love Valentine's Day because it's not just about romantic. That's how it started when you were in kindergarten and the third grade, and then maybe into teenage years, and early. But ultimately, Valentine's Day can just be about really taking a day to really have consciousness on loving life, loving yourself, loving your family, loving your friends, loving humanity, and giving yourself permission to just spend time doing loving kindness, that's what Valentine's Day is for me. It's like I set an intention. Let me be even more kind, more loving, more compassionate, and more peaceful than ever because it's Valentine's Day. So I wish that for you as well. Yes. And Sarah Sweetwater says, "Love you. Thank you. You know I love you so much. You're such an important component in my life." She says, "Our grocery store has started using compostable plastic sort of bags for produce." Wow. Not certain I know quite how it works, but it's a start. Yes, yes. That's what it's about. And all of these little efforts will mount up to a big change that we need. And we can do it. I truly believe that humans can do it. We just have to stay the course and not give up hope. Yeah. Yeah. So again, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. May you be well, may you be happy, and may you be peaceful, as the monks say. And I will be back on Sunday live streaming the rest of the astrology for February, which is like, oh my God, it's amazing. And yeah, this will be good. So we'll be prepared with all of this energy that's coming. We have a way to navigate through it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will be back and see you again very soon. Bye bye now.